Good evening, it's Andrea Hoxie. It is 20 minutes after 7. This is a brief video to address something that has haunted me all day long. This morning, I was referred to as a mind slave, MINDSLAVE, accusing me of getting my news from certain media sources that I do not pay attention to in the first place. A long time ago, well, I won't say a long time ago, but several months ago, I stopped viewing television news. I stopped viewing news stations for the most part. I find that the talking heads spout more opinion than news. I really don't give a rip what they think. I read from AP online. I read from Reuters online. I do watch scripts on television. The idea that anyone who knows me, who has known me for more than 10 minutes, to say that I am a mind slave is probably the most inflammatory, offensive thing that anyone has said to me since the N word. So that's what I'm dealing with today. I believe that this big, bad, bodacious, bastardized bill is an abomination. And I believe that because I see how it is going to affect a lot of people, millions of people. My business is people, all kinds of people. They come in all races, ethnicities, and hues, and creeds, and orientations. And for me, they are human beings. They are God's creation. And just like there are people who may look at me and not like what they see, I do not have that kind of luxury. I have to look at people and see what they need, regardless of how they are, regardless of their lifestyle, regardless of their beliefs, because they are God's creation. And so there are lots of things about me that you may call conservative, but I leave that at home and I deal with the people in front of me when I have to. But there are things I do like to conserve. I like to conserve decency and respect and civility. I like to conserve proper decorum in the public square. I don't even believe in intimate moments in the public square because it is public and intimate moments are private. So it's not about whether you are with your best guy and you're a guy or your best girl and you're a guy or vice versa. I don't want to see you doing your thing in public because that's not our business. Back to the issue at hand. The people who want to wear that conservative label seem to want to go back to a time where my parents suffered through a lot of unnecessary um, oppression and racism just to survive. As I was told just today, I really thought we had gotten past that, but I see that I was wrong. Because what has happened with the emergence of the first felon of the United States is that he has brought with him all of the garbage, all of the filth, all of the discrimination, all of the oppression out into the open so that all of the other mindless people who think the way he thinks, which is not good, can be okay doing the things that they do. Why else would he pardon the very people who attacked an institution of the country? Why else would many of us still suffer from a case of PTSD just watching what happened to other people on television? Because we care about them. See, if you feel something, that means you're alive. But when you feel what other people feel, that makes you human. And if we don't have that human connection, we're going to lose our humanity. And we are at the edge of losing our humanity, because a lot of people do not care what happens to other people. Now, in the process of not caring about other people, what a lot of his most ignorant minions do not understand is that they have put these people in office all over the country who are afraid to follow the rule of law, who are afraid to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And what is happening is that they are voting for something to please this one guy, and it's going to hurt them. They are literally cutting off their noses to spite their faces. And so I'm supposed to be the mind slave. For the record, in my business, I tell people the truth. I tell them the truth, even if it's not the truth that they want. I deal with the facts, and that is my truth. My truth is based on facts. And so when I give them the facts and they don't like it, they can either go with my recommendation or not. I am not going to change my facts, my truth, because they don't like it. That would be unethical and immoral and detrimental to them. I would rather lose their business than tell them what they want to hear if it is not the truth. And that's the way I roll, not only in my business, but in the rest of my life. There's no point in me going around telling my granddaughter something to make her feel good if it is not the truth. When I teach a class, there's no point in me telling someone something because it sounds good to their ear if it is not the truth. When I write, there is no point in me writing a lie just because it might help someone in their entertainment world if it is not the truth. And so, here's some truth for you. Let me see if I can find a little truth for you. Here's some truth. We have sitting in the White House a man who should be in jail. He has 34 felony convictions. He has had to plead the Fifth Amendment almost 100 times just not to incriminate himself. He has been known to fraternize with a now dead sexual predator. He's had criminal charges, sexual assault allegations, bankruptcies, draft deferments, impeachments, convicted companies, the shutdown of a fake university and a fake charity, millions of dollars in settlements against him. He is the first president in history to serve a full term and increase the deficit every year he was in office. He takes more golf breaks than anybody in history in a shorter length of time. Yet this is the man that everyone else is kowtowing to and talking about how good a job he's doing. Yesterday, I saw an image of Mike Johnson and some other men on the floor of the House of Representatives in a huddle, supposedly praying. And I could not help but wonder, to what God are they praying? Could not possibly be the God in whom I believe, the one whose Son came to die for all of our sins, the one whose Son taught us to love our enemies, to feed the poor, to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked. Not that God. Their God is an old white man, out of shape, morbidly obese, thinning hair, tiny little hands, even tinier mind, and even tinier heart. They do not represent the people who sent them there. Just that simple. So me, with my mind slave self, I have the audacity to sit here and tell you some truth, because nothing I have said so far is a lie. and I'm not going to tell you any lies. I will tell you about two characters that I've thought about today. One is Trelane. Trelane was a villain in the original Star Trek series. Turned out that Trelane was an impudent child who was given a world by his parents for his very own to do with as he saw fit. The problem is, Trelane chose to transport some of the Star Trek crew into his world and take control of them and then cause them harm. And just as he was about to actually do them some fatal harm, his parents intervened and said, Trelane, it's time to come home. And Trelane started whining. And he said, but you told me this was my world and I could do whatever I wanted to do. And the parents had to say, yes, but you are harming sentient human beings. And no, you can't play with them like that. And this is where we are in the United States, that we have one old, deranged, morbidly obese, woefully incompetent at everything he has done, childlike person who's based on his policies, wife should be deported, and in-laws should be deported, and children should be deported, sitting in the Oval Office, ruining the lives of millions of people. Now, I have some folk I know voted for him. I hope they have seen the error of their ways. And the rest of us, we just have to deal with it as best we can until we can do something better. So the challenge is, what are you going to do about it? Second person I want to talk about is a real person. His name is Roland. Roland is a good friend, and he's a veteran. And so now, because of his heritage, sometimes you look at Roland and you don't know what he is. You don't know if he's Hispanic. You don't know if he's Mediterranean. You just don't know. Roland is 50% Creole, 25% Irish, and 25% African American. Roland can trace his lineage back to Marie Coin Matoyer, who was born into slavery and who, in her later years, became a prominent businesswoman and the owner of the largest landmass in Louisiana. Yet, Roland, a septuagenarian, now has to carry both his military ID and his passport because he has been stopped and addressed in a language that he does not speak because he is not Hispanic, folks. He is skin folk. And so we have this thing going on with people, and we even have people whose family members are subject to deportation who are supporting this tyrant. Go figure. I'm working on that one. I don't understand it, but I guess they think that they are immune and that their loved ones cannot be touched. Newsflash, folks, if you have not read any news articles and if you have not watched any news, of course, if you're a mind slave, maybe you're watching the wrong channel, where people are saying, I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think he was talking about me. Well, why the heck not? Unless you are white, and especially male, then what makes you think you're not at risk? I've also been told that to speak like this in a time before the founding of the country, that I would be jailed. Heck, I might be jailed for this because let's face it, right now, people can be jailed for protesting. They can be jailed. They can lose their jobs. They can be detained without due process. They can be deported. And then Someone suggested that I go live in another country. Well, why the heck should I? Because see, there are a couple of ways you get here. Your foreparents came here probably from Europe or somewhere over there across the pond, and your foreparents cheated the natives out of their land and founded this country, and your foreparents went over to Africa and brought some of my foreparents over here and built the country on their backs. Unless we're talking about the railroad, then they shipped in some people from China. Same thing, still slavery. And then what else did your foreparents do? After Lincoln signed that document, which on his face sounds good, but its intent really didn't mean a doggone thing. Your foreparents promulgated laws that allow them to continue enslaving my foreparents with bogus sentences, with leasing of prisoners, with private prisons to continue their lifestyle. And so a lot of you think that we want something from you. I don't want a doggone thing from you. I don't. The only thing I want is the same kind of opportunity that my mind and my experience qualify me for. Despite that, I've had to be self-employed most of my life because I got tired of hearing, oh, you're overqualified. That is such a crock of doggy doodle. I am very grateful to have friends of the Pillar Nation whose sincerity I feel in my heart, and I believe that they are real people who understand the plight of people like me, who regret the kinds of things that we've had to go through. But I don't want anything from them. All I want is to know that when I present myself as a qualified person, that you don't stop considering me because of the color of my skin. That's all we want. We don't want any extra. And I hope by now that you understand, since I'm on skin color and stuff like that, that diversity, equity, and inclusion is not a free ride. It is not a leg up. It is looking at me and seeing somebody who is different, but understanding that what's in my brain still matters. The work that I have done still matters, despite how I look. However, having been in situations where so-and-so got the job that I should have gotten and sucked at it, this is what you get. So now we have these incompetent, inept people in these positions that affect our daily lives because they're making decisions that affect not only government workers, but workers in the private sector. They want to control how you determine to hire your staff. They want everybody to look like them. And my theory, and the theory of other folks with whom I've spoken, is that once they get all of the qualified people of color and women out of the way, then we will be relegated to the jobs that are being left vacant by the hundreds of thousands of field workers that they are deporting, some back to a country that they know nothing about. So this is the spiel from a mind slave who cannot think for herself, who supposedly relies on particular media outlets like CNN and MSNBC to get her thoughts together. Not friggin' so. Understand that. I can think for myself. And if there's anything at risk with this video, that's fine, because I have come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord and no one else. And I do not believe that he will have me suffer from speaking some truth that might make some people uncomfortable, but I truly hope and pray that it will make someone pay attention to what's going on, because I want the world to be better for my almost 12-year-old granddaughter and your grandchildren too. They should not be saddled with our prejudices, our misogyny, none of that, our hatred for each other, our cruelty toward each other, our callousness, and the way we've left the environment messed up. So you want to say this is a great country, fine. That is your right to say this is a great country. This is not a day for me to celebrate. This is a day for me to mourn. And this is a day for me to pray that the people who claim to believe in the God in whom I believe will turn from their wicked ways and seek his face and ask for his forgiveness. That's where I am. Go in peace.